Okay guys, a few stocks I'll be watching tomorrow in the live trading chat room. KNDI is one of them. You kind of had a double bottom right here after that big 3-day sell-off. Seems like it's got some news flowing in. Switch to 60-minute candles real quick and show you what I'm looking at. So a possible double bottom. It's holding this area fairly well. You almost have a kind of one of those little W's forming, which might come up and retest that 18 area. And who knows, maybe break through it. But so what you have after that sell-off is basically KNDI in a range, and now we held this area, and now we're kind of starting to leak higher. So I'm looking for a potential long, maybe to take us to 18 tomorrow. As I babble here, just make sure you understand I'm a day trader, and I'm just looking for ideas for tomorrow for potential setups. I may or may not trade any of these depending on the market and how these things set up. So keep that in mind. CBI extremely beaten up here. In about a week, it went from 70 to 60. You can see that it had support back here. I mean, I have to go back to last summer, but it was pretty nice support. It kind of hung out at the $60 area for quite a long time. Looks like a couple months. And so the fact that it's gotten there in a hurry makes me think long for a bounce. All right, I called it long today in the chat room. Got a trade in it right over this little Titan range right here. And nice pop, but then the market got weak, and so only made a little bit of money on it. But you notice it went below 60 a couple times here and really kind of has a range going, and above resistance, above intraday resistance, which is about in this area here. This one could be higher from here as the crowd starts to say, hey, it held 60 support again, and having fallen $10 in about 5 days, certainly could give a sizable bounce. All right, so it's a good one to have on watch. VRSN ripped through the 200-day on big volume about 4 days ago. Couple days down and kind of retested the 200-day. Here it is on 30-minute candles, kind of a rounded bottom here. So it's coming out of nice support now too, from the past couple days. So you got to like this one as a potential long on Thursday. Taser, I don't really have any kind of, hey, here's a great price to buy it, tomorrow, but I do want to have this on watch with that spike off of a bottom here on pretty good volume. That's TASR. Goodyear tire. This is just one of those. Again, I want people to understand I'm looking for trades tomorrow, possible trades, and there's a good chance I won't do anything with something like a GT, but it is extremely beaten up in 1 day and almost touched the 200-day. And so that one's worth watching tomorrow for a potential bounce. But again, I don't look at that because you don't listen to me thinking I'm looking long for that like it's a bullish chart. It's just possibly overdone in the short term. I hope that makes sense. International paper IP. Now this is a weird chart because it was selling off hard down to the 200-day and then just ripped over the course of 2 days from 47 to 52. Well, since then, with the exception of this right here where it opened above the previous day, since then it hasn't broken the previous day's high. You can kind of see some support right here where it held back in June, right around 48 bucks. So, it's come from 52 down to that area. And worth a look. Again, this is one of those I just want to have on a chart. And let's just say it opens, it gives me a 50-cent range for a couple hours, and then breaks to the upside. I bet you we get a nice trade. So that's a tough chart. A lot of people would look at that chart and just have no idea. Is it bullish? Is it bearish? I'm really not sure because it made this huge move, and now it's retraced a portion of that. So who knows what to think. If it sells off again tomorrow, I love it back around the 200-day, right? I love it down there. But if it also holds above 48, might give a nice long setup. So that's a lot to digest and a lot of ifs. But that's the best you can do on an overnight video when we're not watching the market trade together. So here's another one. HIMX, nice volume pop today. And coming out of nice support, coming out of a couple weeks worth of basing at $6. So maybe this one you get a continuation on Thursday. That one's certainly worth having on a chart. CLF had that really big pop, and we had a nice trade in that one yesterday, and then today did nothing. It's a quiet inside day, so kind of like IP. If this one gives a narrow range for a while, breaks to the upside, we could get a nice trade. Doesn't cost you anything to have it on a chart, and having that one on a 5-minute chart as the morning is unfolding might make you a nice bit of money where you wouldn't have seen it otherwise. So that's why I try to populate. I've got 6 monitors, and I try to populate my charts with things like I'm showing you here, and it's a lot easier to catch a setup if you have a bunch of charts to look at. GameStop is just in my notes. I don't really have a call on this one. It just got slapped pretty hard. And again, another down day today. But, it had resistance here at 42, support there. If it gets down to 42 again on an early morning sell-off, I like the idea of a bounce from there. Soda may be worth watching. Had this big pop, down a few days, and then another nice volume pop today. I believe they had earnings today. Obviously, maybe the earnings weren't as bad as people were thinking. So that one's worth a look. ONVO seems to be holding support. And 3D printers, although this is different because it's like a medical 3D stock. That's way over my head, but sometimes it runs with the 3D stocks, and those things were pretty strong today. Anyway, this one is holding support, so over this 3-day high, might get a pop in ONVO. And I don't even have this in my notes, but I remember seeing EGHT looking through charts tonight, and it's kind of interesting. You had a pop back here, a few days down, secondary pop. So this one held 8 nicely, and maybe up from here. I'm actually going to get off this video and put that in my notes too to make sure I'm watching that one as well. Have a great night. We'll talk to you tomorrow.